Hello, all. Welcome to another episode of Silly Point. We have just witnessed an absolute masterclass by Joe Root, who's scored his second double hundred. No,
Third
is
Yeah,
that is
consecutive
that his
150 plus.
yeah his third score of 150 plus in a row, right?
Two double hundreds and
And
180
one
something.
180
186.
something, and he got run out in that game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it technically could have been three double hundreds in a row. So absolute masterclass. There's been a lot of buzz around that, and now the talk of the town is whether he can actually go on and beat Tendulkar's test record, and if he is already back in the Fab Four. So I've got Zahid and Uzaib here with me to talk about that a little bit. So what do you guys think? Do you think Root can actually go on and score more runs than Tendulkar can? Has?
Well, yeah. Firstly, like I have to say, very impressed by Joe Root. Like I was one of the people who were actually doubting his caliber when people were talking about Fab Four, and I was like, no, he's not right up there with Smith, Kohli, and all. But he's really proved me wrong. Like scoring not just big runs, but massive hundreds, double hundreds, back to back, 3 games in a row in difficult conditions. Maybe like Chennai pitch was a bit flat on the first day, but still like it's new condition. They haven't got much of a match practice in India and coming straight into first test match and scoring those many runs. So no doubts about that. He's definitely up there with the best in test cricket, scoring runs both. And actually, like Gaurav mentioned, I think earlier, that his overseas record is actually better than his home record, which just speaks about the quality of the player. And again, looking at his record, he's quite young. He's only 30 and he's already played 100 test matches. And for me, I think if anyone is going to break Sachin's record, it has to be a player from England or India, just because the amount of test cricket they play. I don't think even if you have like a good Pakistani or a Kiwi, they just won't play like 170, 180 test matches, the amount you need to get to that kind of score. So I think given his track record, his recent form, and also the kind of batsman he is, I think for me, like the way I look at him going forward is he's probably going to play ODI cricket for another 3 to 4 years at most. And then he's probably going to specialize as a test batsman. And if he plays for another 6 to 7 years, I think he's if anyone can, it's probably Joe Root. I think he's my favorite among Kohli and Smith to break that record.
Yeah, I think it's the most targeted or most talked about record. Who will eventually break Sachin? I think obviously one player can't do it in all formats. I think Kohli maybe in 1 days. We can discuss that another time. Well, right now, if you look at the list, Joe Root and Kohli are even in the test format probably the only ones on track.
Well, sorry, I think you guys are missing out Steve Smith.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's still far behind. The problem is he's also lost a year, right? So
yeah. I mean he scored more runs than Kohli, and he's played lesser matches. I get that, but they're in similar age groups, right? So
well,
Smith,
a couple of years of difference, huh? 2 saal
Upar niche, it's not too far away. So I mean, you'd probably say there are three batsmen in contention,
yes,
right? You've got Root, Smith, and Kohli.
I mean, if you look at pure average, I think at the end of their careers, I think obviously Smith will probably end up with a higher average than all of them. He'll probably end up with a 58, 59 average. I think Sangakkara is the only one who kind of had an average along the same numbers. Even Sachin was like 53, I think, at the end of his career, right?
Yeah.
But pure numbers, runs, yeah, I mean, Root, yes. The thing with Root is, I think, last couple of years we've had quite a lot of debates. We had a good debate between Williamson and Root as well, where Williamson was quite comfortably on top. But I think Root has the last 3 games he's come back phenomenally well, and he's kind of gone through his bad patch in a way. You can say that because he went 2 years when he scored just 50s, he didn't get a lot of hundreds. So if he's gone through that bad patch and now he's coming back to his best, then why not? I mean, it's pretty ironic. The fact that we're actually discussing this is a big compliment to him. Not that we are discussing it, but because people thought that he was done and he was just going to be another, he's going to be like Alistair Cook, who's going to end his career like at a high 40s average, because Cook kind of went downhill towards the end. So I think he can definitely do it, but it's just the longevity. I mean, 200 games.
Yeah, that's the thing.
How is he going to be at the same level when he's 37, 38, which Tendulkar was?
Yeah, my opinion is that I don't think anyone can actually beat that record. I think to have that kind of longevity, it's too much. I mean, Tendulkar played 200 test matches over how many, over 20, 25
21.
years, 21 years. But the point was when Tendulkar started playing, right, there weren't so many games being played at one time, right? So he was able to take it quite slowly.
And he started really young, February at 16, which doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, of course. That's true as well. But nowadays, right, by the time these players are turning 30, the likes of Smith, Kohli and Williamson. By the time they're 30, they've played over 300, 400 international games. Right. So what I mean is that they're already quite burned out by the time they're 30. In order for them to be as good as Tendulkar was when Tendulkar was 37, 38, I think that's tough. I mean, in my opinion, Virat Kohli will retire by the time he's 35.
I think that's the thing. I think Root will need to obviously retire from more white ball cricket.
Yeah.
And then maybe if you plays 12, 13 test matches and for the next 7, 8 years, he can get to 100 more. And then maybe if he plays a few more test matches in Chennai, he can probably break it quicker.
Against the weaker oppositions. That's the thing. Like I think I agree with Gaurav's point. Burn out, the amount of cricket they are playing, the leagues and everything. That is genuine concern. But the only way Root can break this record is obviously because he's the kind of batsman he probably won't. He doesn't play that many T20 leagues, so he will probably retire from limited over cricket in the next 3 to 4 years, and then he will probably just focus on his Test cricket.
I think Kohli and Root and Williamson probably retire from ODIs after the 2023 World Cup. Like what is then left for them to play beyond that?
Kohli's game, he's more of a white ball, limited over cricketer, so he might still play for another couple of years, depending zarurat hai India ko nahi, because kind of cricketer India has, he might be like, okay.
I mean, the other active players in the list, guys like Azhar Ali, Pujara, Ross Taylor,
Babar Azam. If he plays Sri Lanka, Bangladesh at home a few more times,
another 4 decades, so he might get it.
No. But there is a point here. Right? We always talk about Root, Smith, Williamson. Once upon a time, we talked about Angelo Matthews. But my point is that fine. These are the guys that score runs, a lot of runs. They score them relatively quickly. So what about the supporting acts? Like Virat Kohli has a Cheteshwar Pujara. And soaking up the balls in every test match, taking on the pressure, getting the ball hold, and then Virat Kohli just comes and plays an ODI innings in a test match, right? What about the number of times that Pujara's batted 100 balls in an innings,
got hit on his head and shoulder and ribs and everything, and
exactly. So it's I know we talk about these guys and breaking records. Right? What about someone trying to break Rahul Dravid's records of playing the most number of balls in a test career? So maybe someone like Pujara can break that record. I don't know.
Or if Dom Sibley continues to play the way he's playing now.
Yeah, true. I mean, I know the first ever episode we did for Silly Point, I was trolled a lot for saying balls per innings matter in test matches. But almost 9 months on, it's getting proved that the more number of balls you play in a test match, there's you provide your team with a better chance to win. So you talk about Kohli, but supporting actors Pujara.
Yeah.
Talk about Williamson, potentially supporting actors guys like Henry Nichols or Tom Latham.
Exactly.
Yeah, they play out lots of balls, and that gives Williamson.
You talk about Azhar Ali, the supporting act is Azhar Ali, and the main act is Azhar Ali.
Azhar Ali is within. Babar Azam. As his career progresses, he will need a player like that.
Fahim Ashraf.
Unfortunately, Azhar Ali is 34. Fawad Alam is 35. I don't know how much longer can they play, but he needs someone to back him up. Joe Root in recent times has had someone like Dom Sibley, right? Yeah. And if we go back further, someone like Kevin Peterson, right? He had Alistair Cook to play out the number of balls. So I think Ian Bell, yeah. Ian Bell was a bit hit and miss, but I'm talking about these dominating players.
Yes.
Players
in Test cricket.
Yeah, if we talk about Sehwag and Ponting, for example, they just had fantastic batsmen around them.
Yeah,
so I'm
exactly.
not going to bring, I'm not going to give them as examples, but a lot of these guys, they're really lucky to play in an era where they have a batsman like this who can soak up the balls and take off the pressure. So when
that's the thing. I think with the amount of T20 leagues and all these limited over cricket, is getting rarer and rarer to have those pure test batsmen who can soak up the pressure, take the game, take the pressure off other batsmen. So I think that's a rare variety, and Pujara and probably Cook and all these are very, very few we have these, like, or maybe Azhar Ali from Pakistan. So I think we are, and it's a delight to watch, especially on a day 5 pitch when you need to defend.
True.
So I think it's a great to watch that sort of player.
You look at AB de Villiers, right? AB de
Mm-hmm.
Villiers' test record is phenomenal, but
Mm-hmm.
again, it's down to having someone like Smith and
Yeah.
and Callis,
Mm-hmm. Callous,
can
exactly.
soak the pressure. They were
Mm-hmm.
able to soak the pressure, so he was able
Mm-hmm.
to score lots of runs and
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
True.
Yeah, but I think it's also because the old Test cricket is now coming back. I think there was a time, I think the last decade or so, where Test cricket was also being very fast, where you saw lots of runs at three and
Mm-hmm.
a half, 4 runs and over.
Yeah,
But now you're seeing the old fashioned where literally, where, in this, even in the England or India Test match, the Pakistan South Africa Test match,
yeah,
where the run rate has been 2.5. It's only when the teams have gone on to score big, like England. It's only when they've got to 300 for three that they
Mm.
started playing quicker.
yeah.
Yes.
Whereas now you see Pakistan were in like 10 overs, they had like 5 runs or 7 runs, even when they played in England. But that's a problem of Pakistan anyway. But even in Australia, when India played Australia had the same thing. They played really
Yeah,
slow.
yeah.
I think
I
that format is now coming back.
Yeah, I do agree. I think there's been a switch. If you think about the time from the 2015 World Cup till about, I don't know, the 2019 World Cup, let's take
Mm.
that as a period, right? I think in that period, because
Mm.
of teams like New Zealand and England, because of
Mm.
their whole philosophy of
Mm.
attacking, I think
Yes.
that seeped into the
So Brendan
test
McCullum and
arena
all.
as well.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone was looking to score runs very quickly.
Mm.
You had more results, but I think this is the more traditional,
Yes.
test,
And I think I
test way
see
of
that,
doing it.
as test matches, two halves, right? You have like the first 2 days where it's a completely different game, and
Yeah,
day 3 onwards is different. So I think it's also about like capitalizing on the early kind of advantage of the pitch, and then kind of from day 3 onwards, the teams need to be balanced in terms
yeah,
they can play both, like attack on the first couple of days, and then have spinners or attacking bowlers who can take advantage of turning tracks or seaming tracks on day 4 and day 5. So I think that's becoming more exciting to watch like that.
it's more fun, right, to see this
Mm.
battle between ball and bat. I
Exactly.
mean, in the past there have been lots of test matches where it's just all bang bang, and
Mm.
the batsmen are scoring big runs and whatever. I
Yes.
mean, obviously the
Mm.
Chennai test at the moment is going
Yeah.
that way. The
Yeah.
wicket's so flat, and you're seeing 600 runs once in a while. That's
Mm.
okay, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But you don't want to see that all the time. And I think,
Yes. So I think
I
like
think,
Pakistan match is quite well poised right now. So Pakistan has
yeah,
an early
yeah,
advantage.
yeah. I mean,
They've lost.
that's
The ball is turning, and now if they lose
exactly, yeah,
their
yeah,
last 3-4 wickets for 30 runs, then South Africa is in the
I
game.
think, yeah, I think I think this just because it's a Pakistan South Africa series in Pakistan, so people aren't talking about it as much. If this was like a India England series,
Mm.
if the test match was the same, but the team was different, if this was Australia England or India
Mm.
Australia, this would have been talked about as one of like the best test matches. The previous test match, it's only when South Africa collapsed on the last day when they lost 9 wickets for like 90
yeah,
runs.
yeah.
Mm.
Otherwise, it was very close for a long time. And even
But
this latest test match, right? It's been seesawing.
yeah,
So it's been a very
Yeah.
close test match. Good balance between bat and ball. No team has
Mm.
gone on and scored like 400 or 500.
exactly.
And no one's been
But
bowled out for like,
But one thing I would
70.
like to say, I'm very much against this 2-match test series. Like, it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense.
I agree.
Like, they should play at least 3 games. Come on. Like,
Yeah,
what is a 2-match series? Like, you're coming
nothing.
from all the way from South Africa, you are quarantining for 2 weeks, and then you play 2 games. And if you lose the first game, there's no way you can win the series. So
Yeah,
it's pretty pointless. So I think teams
I
like,
agree.
especially,
And
they usually play like 2 games test series. So they need to
Zayed
work.
and me have discussed this before, that
Mm.
for the World Test Championship to
Mm.
work, right,
Yes.
at least the bare
Mm.
minimum that the ICC needs to do is to
Mm.
ensure that every test match is the same length. Every test match series is the same length,
Mm.
right? You say that, okay, you have to play three match test
Huh.
series, and everyone does that. Okay,
Yes.
if Australia and England want to play 2 additional, they can play
Mm.
it outside the World Test Championship.
Yeah, fair. But minimum should be 3. And the thing is,
Yeah,
sometimes you have obviously the broadcasting rights and all of that, and certain series or certain matches are more valued, so they want to maximize that. So okay, 4 or 5 is still fine, but minimum of 3 makes sense. Like
should be
less than
there.
that
I
is like
agree.
And then
just
you
like
won't have like the way India came back to beat Australia. You wouldn't have like
exactly.
you can't have that in a two
You
test
Yes.
can't have a
series.
story.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
in 2 test matches, you can't have that story, right? Where a player doesn't do as well in the first test, he gets better and
Mm.
better, and then he gets to
Exactly.
the point where he's actually winning games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You
Like
can't have that.
you've seen them significantly improve between the first and second game, and
Exactly.
yeah, if
Yeah.
third test match they might have come and they completely demolished Pakistan. So you
Yeah.
don't know.
And right to your point about, this, I guess this being South Africa, Pakistan, and not getting enough
Yeah.
That's also an issue for me. Like I think where you see good test cricket,
Yeah.
or any cricket, I think there should be attention thrown to that.
Yeah. I completely agree with that.
Although one thing I will say, the bowling has been top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bowling has been top notch in this series. Obviously, Pakistan, Fawad Alam scored 100, so great knock there. But generally, I think the batting needs to
Yeah.
improve.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and this is to my point that okay, if you have a player, like a Pujara in this Test series, then someone like a Babar Azam can flourish much better. I
Agree.
feel that's my opinion.
Well, I think Babar Azam just has other issues playing left arm spin, but
And getting out overnight,
getting
being not out
overnight.
overnight, and
Yeah,
then getting out the
that's
next day.
really need to work on. I think 4 या 5 हो चुका है अब. He gets out within the first couple of overs
Yeah, I
after.
think he just lacks maturity. We always keep bigging him up and saying, okay, now it's a Fab Five, whatever, but it's still.
But I think they keep as well, right? So the bar gets higher and higher for him.
Exactly.
But when he got all those like hundreds against Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, we thought like now he's gone past Joe Root and this and that, and now Joe Root's come back.
Yeah, but I think he's 5 years younger as well, right? So I think he's the next best. Yeah, he's probably not there in Fab Four, but he is getting there. Like
yeah, he needs to get a few big hundreds also. I think this was a great chance for him to do it, but
true.
maybe he needs to play a few test matches in Chennai.
Like Uzi said, he's 5 years behind kind of this, this.
The other thing is I was looking at Pakistan's future tour plan. So I think they're playing Zimbabwe for 2 test matches at home in April, and they've got I think a 3 test match series against West Indies. So I think that's perfect for Babar Azam to make the claim back for. So we're gonna see some good big.
Speaking of West Indies, Bangladesh have been giving them a pretty good spanking, haven't they? So
yeah.
I mean, what else can you expect? West Indies have got like their second string side,
exactly.
third string even.
Third
no
string.
Jason Holder, no Jason Holder, no. I guess the bowling attack is pretty similar.
Yeah.
No Kima Roach.
Jason Holder. Yeah, because Roach and Gabriel are there, so the bowling attack is fine, but the batting is pretty poor.
Yeah, but
fair enough. Anyway, so that's our episode. Do let us know what you think. Do you think anyone can break Sachin Tendulkar's test match records? And do you agree with us that the supporting acts for all these players are equally as important? There is in every test team there is place for someone like a Pujara to be there, and every team should have someone like him. So it's up to the boards to try and build try and encourage players like that, and build kind of at the grassroots level, build things to help develop players like that. So so that's our episode. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, please do like, share and subscribe, and catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.